Hey everybody, welcome to Sew with Joe. Today we're picking up where we left off last time, covering up a little hole beside my zipper with a Scam Skate t-shirt patch. Cut that off of a t-shirt sleeve, grab the logo. Yeah, last time we did the placement, got across the bottom. This time we shall carry on. Let's get into it. Now, last time I started off with white thread, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to use white thread. And then I used black thread, and now I want to use white thread. So the top, around the top, is going to be white. White thread. I'm using my usual blanket stitch. White thread, what size thread is this? DO? I don't know, that's what I'm using, in case any of you sewing folk are interested. Oh, and I've lost my needle. Always a little worrisome when the needle goes AWOL. There it is, stuck in my zipper. Not my, that zipper, no, my, you know what I'm saying. So, positive world news today. And this is pretty massive. Because if other countries can follow this model, it could make a huge difference in the world. And what it is, it's in the Netherlands. So those crazy Dutch again. If you're one of those crazy Dutch, I have crazy Dutch background, so you know, don't rag on me too hard. I am one of you, partially one of you. Those crazy Dutch are emptying their prisons. And no, I don't mean that they're just letting everyone out. It's just, over the years, they have reduced their need for jails to the point that they were actually importing prisoners from other countries just to keep their jails going. And now what they've done is they've repurposed a number of these prisons. Now how they're getting their crime down and not having anybody in jail, we'll get into in a minute. But to start with, I just wanted to kind of get the fluff out of the way here and tell you what they're changing some of these prisons into, and it's pretty interesting. One of them has been changed into a university, a place of higher learning. Another one, the chapel, was changed into a library. One was turned into a combination of student housing and social housing. I don't know if social housing is the new word for low income or subsidized housing, but I'm assuming that's what that would be. If I'm wrong, if social housing means something else, let me know. Don't want to spread misinformation. And you got to think about it, like the rooms are already there, so it makes sense. Yeah, it's a prison cell, but you know, college kids, that's all you need. You know, dorm rooms are no bigger than prison cells most of the time anyway. No, mine wasn't. Other uses for the jails, they've turned them into historical centers. Some of them actually just displaying their own history and being an attraction in and of itself. Kind of like an Alcatraz situation. One was turned into a massive hotel restaurant and like high-end restaurant. So nothing, not just, you know, slapping Burger Kings in them. They're making proper use of them, and I think that's one thing they do right in the Netherlands is they don't squander their resources, because when you don't have a whole lot of land, you have to make sure that you make the most of every piece of it. Another experience, or another thing that they did was what they call escape experiences, where they'll actually have people come in, they'll get them all in their orange jumpsuits and take them through the prison experience. The experience of trying to escape. Another one became a cultural business center, which I'm not exactly sure what that meant. Cultural business center. And one was temporarily an ice rink. So all sorts of things that you can do with old jails. The one that I saw when I was in Amsterdam is it was an old police station, actually. I don't think it was a jail cell. I think it was a police station, and they had turned it into a coffee shop. And in case you're unfamiliar with the vernacular over there, a cafe is a place to go and get croissant and coffee and whatnot. Coffee shop is where you go to smoke weed. So this place had been turned into a coffee shop. Upstairs it was a bar and internet cafe, and then the downstairs part was a coffee shop. And it was really neat because they had their main bar where they served the juice and the teas and all that stuff. They actually had the steel racking still there, but swung up from where the weapons lockdown, or the weapons lockup, was. So where they used to have the weapons, they now had their bar, their baristas. And oh man, if you're in Amsterdam, or you go to Amsterdam, you go to one of these places. I don't know if every place is like this, but this one was. It was called the Bulldog. There's a few of them. This is one of the newer Bulldogs that I would go to mostly. And you could get beverages there is what I'm going to focus on. You could get orange juice that they squeezed the oranges in front of you. You know, you sit down, you're rolling your joint, and barista is back there cutting oranges in half and squeezing the juice out of it, and then all of a sudden you have a glass in front of you, and that's the way to do it. Same thing with their teas. I ordered a peppermint tea, and they pull out their peppermint plant, cut a couple leaves off of the peppermint plant, put them in the cup, and pour hot water on it. It's like, that is amazing. Oh, they also had what was called a Bulldog Coffee. What this is a coffee. It's basically oh, what do you call it? Oh no, I've lost the word. Where you mix coffee and hot chocolate. So whatever you call that. It's coffee, hot chocolate, and whipped cream. And they called that their Bulldog Coffee. And those were amazing. And all like really, really high-end ingredients and stuff. And if you're into the culture at all, if you're into the edibles, they have a chocolate muffin there that is called Space Cake, and pretty sure it's world famous. They say over there, Spaßcock. Yeah, this is Spaßcock. Yeah, the space cake? Yeah, Spaßcock. Okay. But the space cake is good. If you're not experienced with edibles, try half. If you know what's going on, have one. If you have a decent tolerance, have two. I have a decent tolerance. I had one. I noticed it. I enjoyed it. Two. Yeah, who knows? Might have knocked me out. Yeah, Amsterdam. Good time. And really cool that the Netherlands are emptying out their jails. Now, how are they emptying out their jails? Well, there's a number of reasons, and some of the philosophies are actually really, really interesting. One thing, fewer things are illegal. So there are fewer arrests and fewer people who are considered to be criminals. So they're what they call soft drug use. So smoking weed, hash, mushrooms, that kind of stuff. And their sex trade is also legal there. So if you're a prostitute, you don't have to worry about being arrested for it. You have a much safer environment to work in. So since they don't have hookers, pimps, drug dealers, or I shouldn't say drug dealers, but because the dealers still get in trouble. You have to buy your weed from certain places. And the heavier drug users, or drug dealers and users, that's still illegal. So phase one, make fewer things illegal and you'll have fewer criminals. Second, they have a philosophy that jail doesn't actually work. And I think, everybody jokes about it, but I think they have a very good point there, because people go in to jail and they come out better criminals, not necessarily better people. So when you get a bunch of criminals together, you're going to talk about crime shit. You're going to talk about how to steal this type of car. You're going to talk about how to talk, old people out of their money. You're going to learn how to do all sorts of stuff to get money in ways that aren't legal, because once you're considered a criminal and a prisoner, it's that much harder to get jobs. So if you can't get out of prison and get a job, obviously you're going to turn back to crime to make a living, because you have to eat. So what they do in the Netherlands is their prison sentences are much shorter. If someone does end up in the penal system, then they're not in as long. So they realize, okay, I've lost my freedom, I've gone to this place, I don't want to do this again. But they're not in there for so long as to completely dissociate them from their lives and allow an easier re-entry into society once their time is done. So fewer criminals due to decriminalization, and shorter sentences due to realizing that jail time doesn't work. And their jails are just emptying. I think that's awesome. Because, lots of time something bad will happen in their lives. They'll end up in jail. If they're in there a long time, their life is destroyed. They get out of jail, they have a record, they can't get a job, there's that stigma, no one wants to deal with them. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. So if you can keep people out of jail or in jail for a shorter amount of time, they're less likely to reoffend. I don't know how they deal with repeat offenders or, later sentences, if they make the later sentences harsher or whatnot. I didn't look into that part of it. But yeah, that's the philosophy, is if you don't have criminals in your jails, you'll have fewer criminals. Yeah, interesting philosophy. And, with the cost associated with imprisoning someone, they must be saving a ton of money on a governmental level. I know everybody wants justice for something that's been done to them or to someone they know. And if that justice can be a shorter jail time, making them less likely to reoffend. It's hard to make people understand that when they've been hurt. So, you know. And what we need to do is not look so much at the immediate and personal effects, but look more at the societal effects. Again, getting out of your own head, getting into what the needs of society are, and not just your needs. People have gotten very self-minded, and we're heading in for some tough times these next few years. And we're all going to need to band together and do what's best for everybody. And if that means letting some people out of prison so that we don't have the overcrowding and the expense, as long as it's not too late for them, because if they've been in prison a long time already, then they are more likely to reoffend. So it's not an immediate solution, obviously, for everywhere. But I think that the Netherlands, wow, is a good model to follow for other countries. What do you think? Shorter jail sentences, less jail time, better ex-cons, people more likely to get into society and be normal people. Normal people is what society's deemed anyway. What do you think? And what they've done with the money that they've been saving from these prisons not being in operation is that they've started beneficial programs for people who are struggling. People who are addicts, they have programs to keep them safe and get them off their using. Just a lot of programs aimed at keeping people away from crime. And if you can do that and actually end up getting a little bit ahead, rather than falling behind by putting everyone in prison and not having the money or space to have all these people in prison, I don't know. The way we do things here sometimes doesn't make sense. So, another quick little shot of good world news. The protected area around the Galapagos Islands is expanding. The government, they decided to add about 45% to the protected area around the Galapagos Islands, in an effort to curb the the damage done by overfishing, commercial fishing. And it's an increase, get this, 15 million acres. Around the Galapagos Islands is now protected and will not be fished. Sarah with my coffee. Thank you. Cheers. Well, that was... Ow. That was much hotter than I was expecting. I think I just burnt my tongue really badly. Okay. That's uncomfortable. Yeah, Galapagos Island protected area expanded by 15 million acres. That's massive news. That's turtles, sharks, rays, all sorts of fish. The oceans are so incredibly important to this planet. We gotta take care of them. If that means moving fishing a little ways out, then so be it. Alright. Well, I think that patch is about done. Put the thread away. Give it a little trim, trimmy trim. Fibers out of the zipper. Sweet. That one, she is done. Flip that and see, that is the hole that we covered up. So yeah. We got, I think only one more patch that I wanted to do on these ones, and that was, there is a butthole under the rear pocket. It's kind of neat, you can't even really see the holes unless you like find them out. Just because everything's so whatever. So I'm going to pick out a patch tomorrow, and probably go along this edge into here, and then down over, maybe try to tie into all of these patches around to make it stronger. Yeah, awesome. Awesome, awesome. I like it. Oh, thanks a lot for joining me. I really do appreciate the time we get to spend together. I really do. Yeah, a few minutes a day that there's some relaxation, chilling, and good news. So yeah, until next time, keep chilling. Don't forget your cookie. Peace.